Today is February 3rd, 2024. I think it's pretty much over. For now, at least. The harassment. I think it's done. Um, I told you yesterday a lot of things over the last few days, the last couple weeks, I've been banning on Facebook, YouTube. How stupid all these people are. You pull back the facade of who they are. It was done by two pimps and a prostitute. Okay. And it's just a big drug scam playing with somebody. Yesterday, I talked to the prosecutor's office, the criminal division in Ravenna. Told them how I had temps in my life, the Perry police report, the witnesses. We get up there, and then the door getting kicked in, and then I'm waking up with bruises, and the well water is toxic up there, and I kept thinking it was them. That and being infected here and being drugged up and being raped and almost passing out in front of people, and I don't know what's going on. He's letting people violate me. He's dating a stripper and her pimps who are running a big scam and keep me drugged up and harmed up there. I kept going out to my family physicians and I kept saying I don't know what's wrong with me. I got all these marks on me, I'm infected, and I said I kept blaming the well water up there because I was fine till I moved up there. I said even the neighbor before that I almost collapsed by the second we got there. Excuse me. And uh, in the front yard. I said nobody knew what was wrong with me. And here I'm being drugged, being raped in my own home up there, and he's letting people violate me. And I said, but I kicked in the door, I was supposed to set up behind cameras, photoshopped a washing scene, and then drugged up and told us to say weirdo stuff. I said, I've never talked to anybody. And he let those people violate me like that. And I got to the point I started crying and stuttering, and I told him about 12, 21, 18. I have told them, where they bashed my head in. I said they broke in and beat on me and stuff afterwards. And I said, I'll tell you what, I didn't, the whole summer long, I didn't see anybody. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't have anybody in my home. And he was letting people break in and violate me like that. And I told him about him human trafficking that girl. And then I think he's just down at my son's cabin and faking his disappearance. And I told him the issue with the truck and that I got insurance on it. But he per divorce agreement, it's supposed to be his, but he never had my name taken off of it, and the BMV says, or the title place said that it's still my responsibility to keep insurance and plates on it, and he just handed it over to my kid, and they're fine. Everybody, there he's let everything elapse, and to the point when I went to my insurance company that there's no life insurance, there's not even homeowners insurance. The escrow's canceled it. Um, there's no insurance on either car. There's no life insurance. Everything's been canceled due to non-payment. Instead of him just going Chapter 7 and moving out, and then getting my alimony lowered and moving off with that girl. Him just faking his disappearance. This is just what he does for attention. He's probably just down. Instead of him running around Japan with no money and nothing. Him faking his disappearance, he's just doing this for attention and just letting everything go instead of handling it legally. Um, she told me I could talk to the domestic part, see if they could help me at all. Um, but it's gonna come down to the title, like they said. They said talk to the BMV. Well, I already talked to the title part. I already talked to an attorney. My name's on it. I gotta keep insurance on it. I sent it to the police. I do have insurance on it. I'm gonna send them one more email, and unless I see somebody from the case, I'm not gonna email them anymore. But I found out they had people down here. The people who were talking, they had people down here to find out what's going on, and they all found out that that agent bullied me, and then he just left me there, and that's why all this happened. Um, where those guys were talking, Monday in Subway. Those 4 guys, they had to be marshals. They were big, huge guys, or some kind of fat. Um, that Will bullied me into saying I was faking I was sick, and then he just left me there. And he didn't think that was funny. This one guy let everybody, the human traffickers, get away with so much, and me being as old as I am, for them to even let them harm me even at my age. I'm almost 60. I'm going to be 57 this year. I may not look it because I work on my face all the time. But I'm actually 56, going to be 57. My grandmother. I'm way too old for this shit. But if Will was just going to steal my informant money, he could have just stole it. You do realize that. He could have just took it. Never let anybody harm me, told him to shut the fuck up. What they did is illegal. Huh? And he could have just took my money. He could have even told him, somebody who wants to get spoiled for a year, act like they like her. Soon as Dave and her get a divorce, have him marry her. Divorce her in a year. Dave will never owe her alimony. She'll only get half his retirement fund. And she'll move on. And you know what? She'll forget about that money. He's let these people terrorize me. He's let them torture me. He's let them rape me. They said one of the guys that are selling the login are trying to show the corruption here. They've been saying that for a while up in Akron. See, one of the things after Will bullied me on the phone when he opened the informant case, he said one of his best friends and one of his good friends was the chief of police of Canton. If I ever needed him, he was a good man to get a hold of him. Okay. Well, Will was from Canton. Okay. People were talking last night. This is why the police didn't help her. That guy was friends with the chief of police that let it happen to her and took her money. And that's why the police looked the other way. Nobody said a word to her. Do you realize with all the over 1,000 children and women were human trafficked out of Ohio last year? And then you put it times 5 years. Each life wasn't worth $50, $60. Could he have just took the money and just left me the hell alone and then fixed me up with somebody? Yeah, just took it. All this would have faded off in the background. Nobody had to harm me. Nobody else had to die. But him letting all those people die, like those marshals or feds that we're talking about, it's not funny. He let those human traffickers get away with all this stuff here. Well, no, it's been taking sheriffs and marshals out of this area to blow the hell out of it. And boy, did they blow the hell out of it. I had a polite dinner date last night, and I was telling about the 2 pimps and the prostitute were on the scam. I said no FBI agent would fall for that. Walking in, one's impersonating a doctor selling information. The other one saying he's got stocking tapes of his own and sodium pentothal, drug confessions. And Photoshop and washing. Huh? And think about that. Nobody'd fall for that. He said, these feds, they act like they're going along with it, and they're not. They're actually going after the drug dealers. I said, I thought about that. He was just playing them. But, if he did all this just to steal my money, he could have just stole it. And, yeah. But, and the officers I've been venting to, I do apologize. I was tortured. I was raped. And those prostitutes and pimps saw videos of it. It's children. And teenagers. Maybe. And I had people make fun of me. It's like, make it stop. Dear God, make it stop. I've been out with clients, and they made fun of me in front of people in stores, and they were horrified for me or angry. It's like, stay out of it, I'll tell them. Okay.
Um, but yeah, I'll go ahead and email one more thing about Will and that chief of the police. Uh, but he could have just stole my money. He never had to let anybody harm me, anybody, and him just leaving me there. There's no excuse. Because there's no way you could fall for two pimps and a prostitute. Do you know people even around me where they said it was a retired judge and his friends doing it? I've talked to police officers and said, we don't care if it's a sitting judge, they couldn't do it. People said it wasn't even that retired judge. He just sort of looked like him. They didn't know who he was. They thought it was at first, and they looked into it, and it wasn't even him and his family. Well, he was a spitting image of that picture on the wall. That's why they thought it was him. They let him in the back of the courthouse, and they probably said they were there to watch me. Because I'm an FBI informant. And them joking around doing the skit, they probably just told him that they were trying to make me laugh and feel good about myself before the divorce. Because I have people go in places with me. Because I'm an informant. And I talked to Cecily Mullins, an attorney up there. She didn't know who he was. And I said, well, his picture was on the wall on the day of my divorce. She said, well, if his picture is on the wall, he has been divorced a very, very long time. Okay. And so if he's been divorced 10, 15 years, would he look the same? No. The beginning of the case in Walmart 62 in front of the car, there was a group of people in disguises, cheesy disguises. Dave even made fun of him. He's like, Karen, see that old man over there? And I'm like, yeah. And I turn around and he's like, there's no wrinkles on the side of his face. It's a young guy in a beard and cane and a wig. He's like, look at it. He's like, oh my God, I think his mustache is starting to fall. It's really cheesy, and we're laughing at him. But there was a group of guys in disguises. Then you gotta think they're running a scam. They've shaved their head and face again until they decide what they want to look like again. Or they start up their new scam. They clean the slate so they can redo a disguise. But the cops seen the cheesy disguises. They probably realized they look like somebody who was retired and fixed their disguise because they said they thought it was them. They looked at one even that family. They weren't even involved. Well, he won't look the same 15 years later. He said you have to be retired for a very long time before you can hit the wall. He looked 60 in there, so if he looked 75, he'd look really old. See what I mean? It wasn't even them. I extremely doubt it was them because I thought, well, there's a retired judge in Florida selling people. There's retired judges other places. It's, human trafficking. Like my friend that used to work at the prosecutor's office, it's $1 billion business selling people. But yeah, unless my son doesn't give me no park that truck or let me put plates on it, and I have to deal with the issue with that. I got insurance on it. I told him to have Gabe park it. Totally changed the subject now. And to not use it because it's got insurance, but it doesn't have plates. They've let everything expire. I have to get the title moved to. I put an address change in the BMV. It moves to Stark County. I don't have to have an e-check. Otherwise, I have to pay for an e-check to get it even titled. I am making me responsible for this, and so that they can have a vehicle, even involving me in any of his shit. I have lived through horror. I take care of the handicapped and I take care of the elderly.
And then I have to deal with the horror of my past and these people laughing at me. Do you think I have one bit of energy to have to fix this shit again and again and again? But yeah, I told him you better make sure he parks it and you park it in your driveway. Get it off the road till I can get it plated. I don't want him driving it. I wouldn't dream of taking it from him. But I'll tell you what, if I can't get it plated, they better give it up or I will have the police go get it, because the only thing I've heard from him in 2 days is I haven't got a hold of him. He wouldn't even answer me for 2 days. It's not yours. It was awarded to Dad in a divorce. Well, yeah, but Dad fled the country and he didn't take my name off of it. And I talked to the title bureau and they said it's still yours. You have to do all this. So you're not to drive it until I fix it. And then I don't know where it is. I don't have access to it. I don't have a key to it. It's like I may have to have the police pick it up if they don't get it off the road, and I had to put insurance on it right away. It's like I don't have energy or time. I work 72 hours. And then I have to put up with the prostitutes making fun of me and the pimps, how they have drugged me up and harmed me. And then I go in and I take care of the handicap. And I take care of like 5 different people on a regular basis at different times. I go from one person to the next person and adjust to the situation I need to be in. I deal with a lot and I love my job. I love taking care of people. It makes me feel good about myself and it gives me a purpose. And I'll tell you what, these people run around making fun of me while I'm out with them is childish and juvenile and asinine for being raped or drugged up by a prostitute and her 2 pimps, impersonating people, breaking in people's homes, running a big drug scam of drugging somebody up to the point they don't know what's happening to them, and they're getting beaten, raped, and they think it's the well water making them from throwing up to heart racing to almost passing out, and the person is infected. They're thinking it's just, and then even the bruising, maybe it's giving you cancer. You don't know what's happening to you, and they have you that drugged up. And you're going to the doctor, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know where all this came from. And they're amnesia drugs, and they drugged you up and told you to say weirdo stuff. And they're supposed to have stalking tapes, photoshopping or washing. If they would have never said a word before the FBI, I'd never seen anybody. I didn't know anything. And I thought it was the fucking water. It's that bad. I told the criminal division in the prosecutor's office that I've never talked to anybody. And he was letting people violate me under drugs and drug me up really bad. And he had them break in my apartment and beat me till I gave up everything. And I said I was too scared for a very long time to even say a word. And he let him violate me like that instead of just divorcing me. And it was a stripper and some pimps doing it. And they've laughed at the FBI. They have already confessed in Walmarts. Everything. I don't know. But I'll upload this. And I am going to send the information that Will even stated he was friends with the chief of police. But I'm telling you, that's where I figure Officer Mark and Officer John are Canton cops. Because Will's stationed in Canton. So they're either Stark County Sheriff or they're Canton police officers. That worked my case. But like they said, all the police have stayed out of this because that agent was friends with the chief of police. And they let all these people die. Other police officers have been blowing the hell out of this case. Marshals, sheriffs. And that's where people were walking around Walmart yesterday. The ones that they let listen to her today. They said some guy's trying to show corruption here. They've been saying that up in Akron. That police are badgering people with everything going on and people being taken. We all know what's happening and we all know what happened to her. And anybody saying not to believe her, nobody's to ever say a word to her. Police are badgering people here, and they're bullying people, and they're letting people get away with these crimes. Nobody's to say a word to her. We all know what happened. Exactly. Turn them in. Turn them in. Department of Justice 1729. You go to jail if they even tell anybody not to believe you. And like I talked to a dispatcher, any officer saying not to believe you or you're not credible and I told her about all the proof, the FBI, da 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 da. She said, well, I'll tell you what. She said, anybody saying anything like that, they're just being mean. She said, and I'll tell you what, there'd be a real problem with an officer ever saying that. And they'd be in a lot of trouble. She said, she said, you have other victims, you have witnesses, and you have other police departments working your case and agencies. And I'll tell you, she said, you stand on the proof, the facts, and the witnesses. And they can't dispute that. I'm not doing this.